Hey there, tell me who you are and tell me about these extraordinary little cars.
Okay, so I'm Quentin. I set up the Enfield register and a website basically because I had a car and I had no contacts, so there was no club at all.
But what is this? What car is
this? This car is the Enfield 8000. It's a electric city car built 74, 75, early 76.
So an electric car?
Pure electric.
In the 1970s?
Yes.
How comes we haven't known about this?
They only built 120 of them. They cost the same amount as a Rover P6 or 2.5 Minis. So you had to be really wanting to save the planet to buy one.
Yeah, and I've seen on here, I mean, it hasn't got the biggest range of 50 miles it was, but they were very light, 975 kilograms.
That's pretty heavy when you think about a Mini weighing.
Yes.
Think about 650.
True.
So the batteries weigh a lot.
Yeah.
The car unladen's about 400, 500 kilos.
Yeah.
The batteries are about 500 kilos.
So let's have a look at this car here that you've got, and can you talk me through some of how this actually is set up and how does it work?
So this is my car that's part way through restoration. It does drive and it does work, but what you can see inside is all the control system. It's not really computer based at all. It's all purely electromechanical analog. It all really runs from the throttle pedal. The throttle pedal has 4 little micro switches that basically give a 0 or a 1 control to the various other big switches that you see on the floor.
Now you have all this stuff in the floor, but these are not batteries, are they?
No, these are just big electromechanical switches. They have to be quite big because of the current that's going through them.
Oh.
I can't tell you exactly what currents they are offhand, but they're reasonably huge. If you go around the far side, you'll see the actual contacts that you are transferring the power.
So normally with modern EVs, the batteries are placed in the floor. So where are the batteries on this one?
The batteries would sit at the back along here. So you'd have, you can see you've got 1 and 2. So you'd have a block of batteries here and a block of batteries here, and they would also be at the front. Which, if you come over here, you can see you've got the 4 modern batteries in there. So that's a block 1 and that's a block 2. So these are 12-volt blocks that are put together in pairs.
So you have actually got pretty good weight distribution as well,
yes,
then?
Indeed. And they don't bounce when they go over speed bumps.
Yeah.
They're so heavy, they just don't bounce.
And you say your car is a runner, so you use this?
My car will run and come out. This car is road legal. The red car is road legal.
I mean, it's actually beautifully appointed inside, isn't it? It's actually quite nice.
This one is about 6 days finished.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So this is restored?
Yes. This is literally just been finished.
What is this here?
That's the reverse, forward and backwards lever reverse, which is a part of the later car series to stop the cars running away. So they're physically put into forward or into reverse.
This is extraordinary. So what happened to the Enfield?
Well, the Enfield really was saved by the British Electric Council, which bought 61 of these cars as meter reader cars. They used them from delivery right through to around 1988, 1990. So they were quite successful.
As late as 1990?
Yes, as late as that.
Oh, wow.
They were still playing with them all the way through the 80s, trying different voltages and doing different experiments. But they were used by the various electricity boards to send their meter readers around to pick stuff up, you know, to collect meter readings basically. So
how comes this didn't evolve then? How comes we don't have these today now? Especially now when you think about the fact that, you know, there are lots of there's new players entering the EV market. Why don't we see a modern Enfield?
Well, the company folded, I suppose, when they didn't sell anymore. They were exported to various different places. We've got the records of where they were exported. You know, 3 went to Iran. Love to know where they went
to.
Yeah, 3 went to Iran, a couple went to Sweden, 1 went to Malawi, 2 or 3 left-handed drive ones went to Canada. Quite a number to Australia, as you'd expect, being ex-British colonies.
So you're here at the NEC Classic Motor Show.
Yep.
of course, it's a bit of a petrol head heaven.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of people are very anti-EV sometimes when
Yep.
you meet the classic car guys. What's the reaction that you get to this one then?
We've had a lot of interest. We've had people that used to work on the cars in the 70s and 80s who remember working on them as part of the British Council. We've had an awful lot of people turn up not knowing, like yourself, what they are.
Yeah.
We've got an awful lot of people who didn't realise they made cars that were electric in the 70s, right through to an owner who turned up and said, I've got one of these, I didn't know you existed.
Oh wow.
We knew he existed because we'd seen photographs of his car, but he didn't know we existed.
So this is kind of like the history of the electric car.
Sort of, but you've got to bear in mind that the electric car was around in the 1890s.
That's true.
And there were 250,000 Barkers running around New York in the 20s.
Are there any of those cars around?
They're in museums along with, they are still around. I don't know whether they're still used. If you look at Jay Leno, he's got one in his that is used. But
he's got a lot of cars.
Yes, I know, but they're very fragile. But there's not many of these being used, to be fair. We know of about 4 or 5 that are road legal and being used.
Yeah. So it's amazing to learn that when people think that EVs are a newfangled thing or they're new, but when you look at something like this, this is extraordinary.
Yes, they are. But then you think about Britain had one of the biggest electric vehicle fleets in the UK because of all their milk floats.
Yes,
and this is basically a milk float on steroids.
Right.
It's not quite the same control system, but it's basically the same thing.
Thank you so much for talking us around these cars.
Problem.
Absolutely fascinating. Thanks very much.
Brown car guy. Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these 3 little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.